Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast. Today is Friday, November 21st, episode number 226. Tyler, as always, on the other end of the Zoom room. My name is Rob. Thank you guys for joining us. If it's your first time hanging around the pod, subscribe to stick around. Follow us on our social channels, if Instagram, TikTok, X as it is. Be sure to subscribe and follow us there to keep up with everything. But Tyler, last time we spoke was during the happenings of the early parts of the World Series, or it was right around
Mhm.
the ending of the ALCS for the Blue Jays, and quite a World Series. Went to 7 games. Dodgers win once again. That'll be interesting with the CBA coming up after the 2026 season. Once again, they are back-to-back champions, and once again they win the World Series. So now it is full-blown off-season talk. We sort of scratched the surface a little bit last episode, but now it's real. It's going to be happening. We have Thanksgiving next week, and then winter meetings soon follow. Also, Aaron Judge wins the 2025 Most Valuable Player Award. So a lot happening, and then also we just got a taste of the offseason with Trent Grisham accepting the qualifying offer. So
Mhm.
there's a ton to talk about this episode. So lock in. Thanks for joining us. But Tyler, how you been? How was your watching of the World Series and everything that's transpired since we last talked?
Yeah, man. I mean, Tyler is good. I'd say we're in the thick of it right now, right? It's tough to be here November 21st, knowing there's not ball for quite some time.
February,
Um,
late February is
yeah,
the
late
when
February.
we get spring training.
Yeah. And then the World Series was good, Rob. Obviously, I feel like in past years I've really been adamant about like, yeah, I just can't watch the World Series. But I was totally tuned into the majority of the playoffs this year, and it's a good product, right? Yeah, it's good for baseball. It was a really exciting World Series. I'm excited to shift my focus to the Yankees. But definitely some stuff, Yarby signed, Trent got the qualifying offer, accepted it. A lot of players accepted the qualifying offer when I think only one did the year prior. Tells you where, Rob, you were on this with the CBA and stuff, where some players are at trying to cash out quick. Um, a lot of stuff to get into. We have Cashman comments from last night. I think he
Mhm.
tipped his hand a little bit here and there, or he was doing some strategic stuff, or he's just being a numbnut, and that's kind of for you to decide. But happy to be here, Rob. We're back in the Zoom room.
Yep.
We seen each other since the
Yeah, we saw each other
playoffs?
on Halloween. I think we were watching
Yeah.
a little bit of
All
a
right.
little
So
bit of one of
that
the games. Yeah.
World Series was underway, right?
Yeah. So I think it was like either
Yeah.
game two or something. But yeah, you mentioned it real quick off top before we get into some of Trent, also Judge winning the AL MVP. You mentioned Ryan Yarbrough is back on a major league contract for 2026. I really like seeing that for the Yankees. He's going to be somewhat of a I mean we always say it time after time that the Yankees need to have plenty of starters, and he's a part of the mix for just
Go
when
to
the
the
Yankees are
bullpen
going to
well
have
too.
injuries. Yeah, exactly. So I think that bringing back Ryan Yarbrough for 2026 made a lot of sense, and I'm really glad that they did bring him back. Also, Tim Hill is back with the Yankees for 2026 as well.
I
That
forgot
is
about
really
that,
good to
honestly.
see. Jonathan Loizaga is not going to be back with the Yankees. At least they declined the option. The Yankees did decline his option, so we're going to see where Johnny Loizaga ends up, but certainly an end of an era there. And you think about the
What
promise
could
that
have been?
what could have been. So he will not be back with the Yankees. So that's some of the starting moves that just off the rip have happened since then. Cody Bellinger officially opted out of his deal since the last time we talked, but we knew that was going to happen because he's going to have a solid market to say the least. So
Mhm.
already Boris talking with Cashman, or at least that's
Boris
what
is
we're hearing.
hilarious, dude.
But real quick before we get into the deals, let's talk about Aaron Judge winning his third MVP, back-to-back MVPs. It was very close, Tyler. 17 first place votes for Aaron Judge to Cal Raleigh's 13 first place votes. And then also, funny enough, Cody Bellinger finished 14th in MVP voting
Mhm.
for the AL. But it was deserving for Aaron Judge. I think we knew that the back and forth of at least how Cal Raleigh may have won the MVP is you talk about him being a catcher. Of course, we heard Seattle fans talking about it at nauseum.
Hmm.
And he did have a lot of home runs. He got the 62 home run mark. He he edged he was higher than Aaron Judge in RBIs, but once you look at the the greatness that we were watching in Aaron Judge, and we talked about it that it was really MVP fatigue that
So it would have
for
been,
some of the
yeah.
it really and I do get why it was so close between Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh because you have to pay respect to what Cal did. I think that for how many home runs he hit, how many runs he drove in, how he was doing it as a catcher, I don't want to be dismiss that. I don't want to say that that wasn't deserving to have the votes as close as it was, but I think the right decision was made giving the AL MVP to Aaron Judge because just how great his season was. And as I said, the MVP fatigue sets in any sport. It sets in baseball too. But I think that they made the correct decision. But I also don't want to discount what Cal Raleigh did. I just don't think that it was as good as what Aaron Judge did. So that's
Yeah,
my
no.
take on it.
Judge in a different stratosphere. I'm glad they made the right call. Interesting enough, only one of the New York voters went Judge, the other one Raleigh. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, man, Judge wins his third in the last 4 years. So Mr. Three time should be Mr. Four time.
Should be four.
Um, but Altuve in his rookie year and all that, got to get into that. But it's good to see Judge win, man. I mean, if Cal won, I would have been annoyed, but I really just wouldn't have given a shit about the awards moving forward. I would have went, this is ridiculous. I mean, Cal, like you said, had a great year in virtually every statistical category outside of seven more home runs than Judge or whatever it was. It really wasn't too close. So they made the right call. And like you said, it would have just been a shame if he loses it on fatigue. I mean, this dude is having ridiculous numbers every year. Batting champ and how many homers did the Judge have? 53?
Think yeah, I think
Yeah, batting. I got a stats up. Batting champ and 53 homers. It just doesn't really happen.
no.
It's like
I
Bo
think
Bichette hitting
that is
53 homers with good defense. I
I
mean,
I think that's the most impressive thing was just the
mhm.
fact that he won the batting title this year, and obviously Cal Raleigh went nuclear, so those you could have been looking at a triple crown potentially for Judge, but Cal Raleigh just went crazy. But that at the end of the day, I think that they made the right decision, but I know that
100%.
Seattle fans will be probably crying about this for many years, and don't you worry, we also cry about the Houston, or we
Yeah.
also cry about Judge not winning in 2017. So
And
that's
guess what?
just the
Judge
way the
followed up
cookie
20.
crumbles.
Yeah, and if Cal thinks, or if you're a Cal fan and you think he got screwed, we all felt the same way in 2017 when we thought Judge got screwed. He's won three MVP since. So
Yeah, they'll
Cal,
both be.
the ball is in your court, my friend. I mean, you can follow this up with whatever you want, dude.
Yeah. They'll also, interestingly enough, they'll both be on the WBC USA team for the World Baseball Classic. Cal will be catching, and then Judge and Wright
And
for
I'm sure they're both gonna like each other
I
because
think they probably
they both seem like good
they're gonna be
dudes.
they're gonna always be just athletes are gonna compete that way. So,
Yeah.
but Judge wins his MVP. We saw his acceptance on MLB Network. I was joking that all the MLB Network all year, man, it was video after video seeing
Of
them
Cal. This
of
is absurd.
Cal, and I'm saying they're all crying now. So that is what it
I feel
is.
like most baseball knowers when, yeah, it's Judge.
It
You know.
It is. All right, let's hop into the biggest news as of now. Trent Grisham accepts the qualifying offer. $22 million dollars for next year he will be owed. Interestingly enough, Tyler, also he is for next year, as of now, he is being paid as a top 10 outfielder in baseball. So he is right behind Giancarlo Stanton at 25 mil for next year. He is at 22,025, and he's going to be paid a hefty amount of money for his services in 2026. So I was surprised, or
I was also surprised.
I was surprised from the standpoint that the Yankees offered him the qualifying offer. I was not surprised that he accepted the qualifying offer. I thought it was
That's
malpractice to
fair.
offer him the qualifying offer, because I think that if you let him go to free agency and you didn't offer him the qualifying offer, which also people on Twitter are telling us that we didn't know what the qualifying offer. No, I know exactly what the qualifying offer was. I didn't think that the Yankees should have offered him that, because I don't think $22 million for him is what he is worth. I think that they probably could have got him, God forbid, do I say two for 22 mil. But I'm going to just let that sit there.
I don't think that, but I'll let the cookie crumble.
I don't think that his market was nearly as strong as what people were. And I
I
think his
think he
eight,
probably gets 14 or 15 for 2 or 3 years. Like there's the
maybe
Padres could easily pay
he
him 44
he was
million
a
or something.
perennial bench player for his entire career, and he had one outlier season, and his agent, he and the rest of baseball understood that no one else was going to give him a contract. Maybe it was because it was going into the CBA and he said, "Hey, I'm going to
I
collect
mean,
this money."
that definitely plays a
That plays a
massive
part,
role.
but I am not
Also, Trent
shocked.
was like a big prospect one time too. Like they kind of are going the Jerks and Profar route. And
And
again, Trent is 29.
the
Listen,
rest of his
I'm going to sit here. I remember coming out of the playoffs and going, Trent had 9 doubles this year. That's not good.
the
And I
rest of
don't,
his career speaks for what his market is. And they probably sent out some feelers and they weren't going to bite. But here
here's the only thing. Let me respond for half a second to that. I only the only thing I think that is ridiculous I'm seeing on the internet is, oh well, they didn't think Trent was going to accept the offer. I think they were prepared to have Trent accept the qualifying offer,
well, yeah, of
especially.
course they were.
But so many people were like, "Oh, Cashman misread this. He misread that. He never should have offered it to him." I think they were cool with Trent coming back at 22 mil, especially with hearing what he had to say yesterday. Like, I don't think he views Spencer Jones and Dominguez as like fits on this team, honestly. And I think they view like he literally came out and said we had 2 outfield vacancies. Now we have one.
I think that's a conversation. I guess we can have it now. I think that yes, I don't think that he and the Yankees are as sold on Jason Dominguez as they once were, now seeing a little body of evidence. And also I
Yeah.
don't think that they necessarily love Spencer Jones, but I do think that they see potential in him. I think that the Yankees looked
I
at,
want no
yes,
part of
I agree.
Spencer Jones. I want
I
no part of Spencer
I think the
Jones.
Yankees want a part in Spencer Jones, but here's how I'll
I
just say
really
it.
don't.
I think that they I think Cashman was comfortable enough with paying Trent Grisham that money. I don't think that they did it thinking that he was declining it. I agree with you on that. I think that they look at it as Trent Grisham for 1 year. I think that it's an over. I think they overpaid. I don't think that they should have given him 22 million, but yes, of course, it's only for 1 year. And I'm a little concerned of how that could then affect spending in the coming weeks, but we're going to find out.
If it
So,
affects spending, then there's a massive problem there.
yes, so we're going
I'm
to find
starting
out.
to lean to think it's not gonna.
Okay.
I can, but
Hold
this
faith.
it's
Hold
optimistic.
faith. I'll be skeptical. So, that I agree with. I do think that there's something to be said that with that 1 year deal, and they say, okay, Trent, go out and do it again. We'll reward you with $22 million this year. But also, I think that they think that before the CBA, they go, hey, we got two other outfielders in the mix here. If we sign Bellinger, if we don't sign Bellinger, we'll see how that pans out. But then they go, we still have an outfield spot open up. We still have two guys that can be capable of playing. And then, hey, if we don't get Bellinger, we got two guys that can play those positions once Trent's out the door. And that's really how I think they're thinking about it, because they've done it
But
already.
the
They've
two
done it already.
words, the two words that were big when he said that were worst case scenario. Like that is very telling for a GM to go, hey, worst case scenario, I got to play this guy. Like, I don't know. That's not something you
He's
say if you
also
want to do that.
he's well, they're also relying on rookies, but they've done it before with the whole Volpe and Peraza
But
stuff.
I will say they have been as bad as the Yankees have fucked up in many ways the last few years. I don't know. They've shown to some degree that they do learn from their mistakes. They often just take way too long to learn.
They also have shown that they put pride above those mistakes.
Yes, but they did cut DJ. They did cut
They took
Hicks.
him
Like
2 seasons to do
I
that.
well,
Nah, I'm not giving him credit on that, dude. They let him stay around for way too long. And that's why I think that they're willing to
but
say,
again, the alternative was just to just pay him to not be there. I will
yes,
say they never should have moved
competent
Jazz to.
organizations do that.
They never should have paid. They never should have moved Jazz to third, which I believe inevitably lost them the the division last year. Jazz playing at third, DJ at second for 6 weeks last year, lost them the division. But I don't blame them for letting DJ get some sort of run, I suppose.
Oh.
2.5 years on his contract, Rob.
And the Houston Astros did it with Jose Abreu and cut him out. They held on to him for far too long. And then, yes, exactly.
Watch what they're going to have to
in.
do with Christian Walker, too.
Yeah, and they'll probably have the balls to do it, unlike the organization we root for, because they
but
know
they did it with $30 million remaining, dude.
Yes, they're the Yankees. They can't not do that.
No, they can do it, but I don't see a world.
We both were sitting here bitching and moaning about DJ LeMahieu.
Yes.
And I don't want to let this go into a DJ LeMahieu conversation.
I know, it really should.
But to cut them slack on that, I think is ridiculous.
No, I'm not trying to cut them
yes,
slack.
You are.
I'm just saying that
you just did. Did you not?
Maybe mild slack. Like it's what they did with DJ wasn't malpractice to let him come back. It was malpractice to play him at second for a month.
It was malpractice to let him play baseball on that team, and they did it because Aaron Judge was the captain and they wanted him to do it. That's just a fact.
I can't disagree with the second part of that.
So you're okay. Let's get back to the thing at hand. I think knowing that they like to hold on to prospects, and I think they've been.
They're both gone, dude. Honestly,
I think they're both here. They're both here.
Nuts, dude.
No, it's not. It was nuts for them to play DJ LeMahieu at third base or to play him at second and move Jazz to third, but they did it because they like nutty things. That's what they do.
Or it's like they're paying him $15 million.
Okay, let's exit the DJ LeMahieu conversation. They are not going to just. I really don't think that they're. It's. Can they trade Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez this year? Of course. I'm not going to say that, but to act like it's a foregone conclusion, I think is ridiculous.
I think one of them is gone for sure.
I think you're putting too much faith in. They have Trent Grisham for one more year. After that, and maybe it's a thing where if Cody Bellinger is signed, we know something else could be up, and then I'd say, yeah, it's a more likely situation. But now you have Trent Grisham.
I also feel like they're in on Tucker. I don't know why.
I think it's because you're drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit too much. That's not happening.
There's no Kool-Aid to drink. I'm just making my own opinion.
Trent Grisham is not going to be here after this year. So that means, or after 2026, they have two then other controllable assets. And this isn't me saying that it's a smart thing to do, but this is just how they have an outlook on things. They would then have two controllable players past when a CBA would happen. And there's a lot of unknowns with what that market could look like. So in Cashman brain, in Yankee brain, they said, yeah, worst case scenario, we have the rookies there. And yeah, like you said, worst case scenario, they say we can stockpile them. And honestly, I don't know how good of a market they're going to have for Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez. I'll just be frank with that. I don't know.
What do you mean, Rob? We can calculate their value like that. Like there is clear, all these sites aren't totally accurate, but they typically are pretty fucking close to what these guys are worth. Like you can go with what the Yankees have. What are you shaking your head at? Like with what the Yankees have, dude. People want Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. You understand? Spencer Jones hit
No, Spencer Jones, I'll say, is an asset that people will want.
And Jason Dominguez, is still a top prospect in baseball who has an 850 OPS as a lefty and a 600 as a righty as a switch hitter. You don't think the Marlins want that guy, or the Twins would trade Joe Ryan to build around two dudes? And I also think they brought Trent back because statistically, at the end of the day, Rob, both these guys had terrible postseasons. Belly and Trent, they had the best outfield in baseball. They honestly did.
I think that they are
$22 million is too much.
Yes,
but two things can be true.
They can get something for them. I'm not. When I made that statement,
they can get most people they want.
Okay, well, I'm making that statement in relation to how, they're throwing out the Paul Skeens and all these Tarek Skubals and
That's
everything.
Scuba.
Okay.
You shouldn't even have to give Spencer Jones your Dominguez, but I'll leave it at that.
I think that I think the Yankees like them, or not, maybe not like them. I think that they are willing to hold on to them worst case scenario more than people are thinking that they're going to just trade them. That's all I think. So,
I think that's fair. I think one of them has to go,
yeah, realistically, I would think that they would. I'm not sitting
and
here
I
saying
still
that I
hope it's
don't
Spencer
want that.
Jones, honestly, because I like Dominguez. Sorry, I've messed up the organization of this pod, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're
it
both.
also just doesn't
I think
matter
they're
at the
both
end of the day.
okay. I don't know. Long term, I don't know. I
How about
think that
this? Trent has Baseball Reference has added projections for the following year on their page, and they project Trent to have 17 doubles, 22 homers, a 224 batting average, 328 on base, 418 slug, 746 OPS. Rob, and I'll ask you one thing too. Do you think the fact that Harrison Bader is the fourth best free agent outfielder available played a role into the Yankees offering Trent Grisham the qualifying offer? Because he really
yes.
was the third best outfielder in the free agent class behind Tucker and Belly, which is nuts.
Yeah, I do. I still think they probably could have got him less for, I think they could have probably secured him for less. So,
I don't think that. I
but
think they would have. You think they would have preferred him to pay? Do you think they would have preferred to pay him 1 year 22 or 2 years 31?
no, I think
31 gets
I
you at
I
15.5. It's pretty good.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
think they'd rather want 1 year
I think
22,
they
dude.
did no, I think they did 1 year 22 also for the flexibility. I think that they thought that because again, I think that they are holding out hope on those two guys. That's just me. That's my bold prediction for this
But
offseason.
if they were holding out hope, wouldn't they really pencil one of those guys in though? They
Well,
still can.
Well, now they can't because they have him for 1 year, and Spencer Jones is still in AAA, and he hasn't made his MLB debut. And I
But
think
Trent
that
is playing center. So one of those guys, if they really
yes,
believe in one of those guys, you would think they're not bringing in Belly or Tucker.
I don't think Tucker is even factoring in because I don't think there's a shot that they get him.
I think they might spend like $330
Not
million.
a
I really do.
chance. I don't think at
Rob, that's
all.
what they spent last year.
Tyler, they're about to go into a CBA.
After the trade deadline though. But yeah, I don't think there's a clear understanding of how the CBA affects like how owners are going to spend so far. I think if we've seen it affect how
They are up to
players are going to take their money.
they are up to 280 right now, I believe.
Yep.
And I don't think when the math starts mathing, and I think we also have to depend on, or we also have to look at how Cody Bellinger is going, how his market eventually develops, because there could be some teams that get desperate. You did say, Tyler, yeah, you did mention that it's a weaker outfield class.
Like
That
imagine
could,
Tucker and Belly go and then Trent's getting bit up by the freaking Phillies.
yeah. So
Like I'm all set on that.
that's why I think that there's going to be some teams that may be more desperate than they were, and I don't think the Yankees are going to be willing to go to that extent. And I don't necessarily think that's completely wrong, although I would like them to just spend like drunken sailors and get both of them or get Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're going to be willing to do that. And just my hunch is, I think best case scenario, or just what the realistic scenario is that they bring back Bellinger, because I think that his flexibility in the outfield is very important, and I think
Okay,
that
easy question then, because I think I'm with you. They bring back Belly and inevitably run the same outfield back. I don't think I'm upset with that, honestly.
no, I don't think I'm upset with that either. I just think that in
But
the
do I
back in
prefer Jason or Spencer Jones over Trent in center field? That's a question I shouldn't even be asking myself.
well, in the back of my brain, I think that it's it's a the the thing with this Yankees team is when they go big game hunting and when they go for the big fish, it usually helps them. And that's why I would really like Tucker. I just in my heart of hearts, I just don't think it's going to happen. I really
No,
don't.
I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think he's worth like Vlad Guerrero money personally. Um, I do think they want to bring in someone big though, whether it's via the trade market or if they view Belly as that big piece. Like at the end of the day, Rob, would you rather bring in Belly 5 for 170 or Seager 6 180? Like I think they're gonna bring it. I think they're gonna do something, dude. Honestly, I don't know. They have
Uh,
a year to kind of go for it.
I think that I think they get Bellinger and they run it back with relatively the same team and they get maybe an interesting trade on the side. That's
But
probably
then
my best hunch.
Cashman's comments too. He was saying like we obviously don't want to strike out as much at the bottom of the order. Like I've never heard him say that before. So like the bottom of the order is Volpe, Wells, McMahon. So to me, when I hear that, he's saying we need to do something with someone there.
All right, let's redirect the conversation back to Bellinger. So he opted out, and it came out that the Yankees were rumored to be the favorites to sign Bellinger, and he did state Brian Cashman, I think it was last week, pretty explicitly that they would like to bring him back.
He said yesterday too, we really would want Bellinger back, which I
So
was surprised with.
what are your hunches for the contract that they
Um,
give him?
I think he's a Boris client, so he's probably gonna come out swinging and go, I want 7 years or something crazy like that. I think he'll end up around, let me do a little, long division. That even still feels like a lot. I don't know, 150 for 5, 30 a year.
Yeah.
I think he'll get 5 for 150 to 180.
I think that
I don't
I
know if
think
I want to pay him that much though.
yeah, but that's where I think it gets
35
tricky.
mil is a lot.
I do think that is the I do think that is where the negotiations will live, especially knowing that's where Boris is his client or
Hmm.
his representation, and that's where it kind of scares me, or at least gives me the inclination that it's not a layup for the Yankees to bring back Bellinger. I think that they really do want him and are going to be motivated within the market to bring him back. I just think that there could be a point where maybe Pete Alonso parts ways with the Mets, depending on obviously timing with when people sign and everything, right? And how the market
Yeah.
develops. But I do think there's a chance where some people may swing and miss on a guy. And as we said, the outfield market is not necessarily as strong as it you would like in other years. And so could it be a team says, yeah, whatever, we'll pay Bellinger this amount of money. And then the Yankees go, I don't know, that's out of our price range. We're not going to do that for Cody, which it could be that it's well within their right that they do that. But I think there's a chance of that is why I'm not super duper confident in it that it's like
Yeah,
a
I don't know
layup
if
that
they'll
they
bring
bring him
back
back.
Belly.
So, is there a chance that I think Tucker ends up signing with the Dodgers, honestly. But I
Yeah.
think is there a moment where Tucker goes somewhere else than the Dodgers and then the Dodgers say, "Oh, well, we'll just spend whatever on Bellinger," or
Hmm.
it could be like the Mets lose Pete Alonso to the Red Sox and they go, yeah, well, whatever, we'll just pay Bellinger whatever. And I think that is very much in play here. But I do think that the Yankees have a strong chance at getting him, and I think that is where their main focus will be, and rightfully so. So I do think that you're in the I totally agree with the price range in which you're talking, and we know that Bellinger has had years where he's been up and down and up and down, and he has had those seasons. But and I think you said it last podcast is we want to get closer to Bellinger's style of play at times rather than away from it. And
Yeah.
like you said with the comments that Brian Cashman made at the bottom of the order, where they don't want guys striking out as much, and that's sort of where it seems like they're hinting at getting back in that direction. So that's why it's important to bring in Bellinger. But my one fear is just that uh Pete Alonso gets pissed at someone and he goes somewhere else, and then other guys come in to sweep in and sign Bellinger. I think that's certainly in the realm of possibilities. So
For sure.
that's where I see the Bellinger stuff happening. And then that puts the Yankees in the outfield situation where I think, yeah, they could hang on to Spencer Jones and they could hang on to Jason Dominguez just because they didn't bring back Bellinger and now they have more need for outfielders. So that's where
Hmm.
I'm at with it.
And I wouldn't, even if, if they play a young dude, I'm not going to be incredibly upset, but ESPN projects it to be a 6 year, 165. The Athletic, 6 year, 168. Sports Illustrated, 7 years, 182. I don't really see 7 years. So all those are virtually putting him at, let's see, 166. We'll do the middle. Divide by six, 27 a year. So yeah, it seems like he'll probably get 6 years. We've seen the Yankees do like to give an extra year to lower that AAV too. So, does he land in a 24 to 28 range? Also, Rob, does it come into play that Belly's been around for a while? His career earnings are $120 million. Does he care about 165 from the Yankees or 185 from the Mets? Like is he pulling a Soto here? I think Belly ultimately goes where like he wants to go. I can't see him going back to the Dodgers, honestly. I feel like the way like he got non-tendered there. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
going
that could
back
be
there.
a
But
situation where he doesn't want to do that.
I could see them both wanting to come back. But again, I thought this with Soto too, so you really don't know.
All right, next on, let's talk about these Corey Seager rumors real quick, and then we'll get into the Kyle Tucker stuff. So, according to Evan Grant of the Dallas Morning News, as well as Ken Rosenthal on it, the Rangers they're rumored to want to kind of shed some salary, and it sounds like Corey Seager could be a part of the equation. The Yankees are not on his no trade list apparently, uh, and a lot of Rangers fans respecting this. I'm not saying that this is just rumor talk and we like to have fun in the winter,
Hmm.
but Ranger fans will say, well, he's not, there's no way he's going. I get it. I'm not, we're just sitting here having a conversation about the potential if they are willing to get rid of him and do want to part ways with Corey Seager. I think it would be the most poetic thing ever, Tyler, if the Yankees now with Anthony Volpe being absolutely horrendous at
Hmm.
baseball for the Yankees last year, that if Corey Seager was available, if they did somehow swoop in and make right on the wrong that they did years ago when they let him go to Texas and sign with Texas and didn't really pursue him as actively as they should. And I mean, just looking at his numbers last year, 21 home runs, 50 RBIs, 271 average, at 860 OPS. And listen, if that's production you're getting at the shortstop position, oh my God, it would be light years better than what we watched from Anthony Volpe last year. And that's a part of where
Struck
you
out
can
87 times.
you can sell me 100% on being aggressive with whatever the Yankees really have, or maybe not. Well, I don't know. Whatever that you can do within reason to really, even if it costs more for the Yankees to go out and make that happen with Corey Seager, with top level guys, whether it be Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, other people within the Yankees organization that are highly touted. I think that just makes so much sense and would be just a bat in this lineup and just a dynamic for the team. Granted, he is another lefty, but I think just it would be
Big moves would be happening if Seager came.
that would
So
be a big move that I didn't foresee happening. And listen, I'm prefacing it with this. I know that it's probably a long shot. I'm not sitting here just
I don't think it's that crazy, man.
no,
If
I don't think
they
it's totally crazy
if
if this
they like
report is
decide they're gonna
true.
move, yeah, if they decide they're gonna move him, there's only a select amount of teams that can take on that contract.
Yeah.
He also has a no trade clause.
And apparently, I think it was the Red Sox and the Yankees. I think was the initial thing that they
We're the
weren't.
two that are on there,
So,
yes.
so listen, if
But the
that is
Sox aren't
something
doing
that,
that. They have
yeah,
a ton of middle
yeah.
infielders that are really young and really good.
But you know who has a big vacancy at shortstop, or at least you know. But
Oh,
I did throw out
me.
I did throw out this joke. Nothing. And listen, I could see that. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But well, we still like what we could see from Volpe down the road. Please God, let me be wrong on that. That they will
Dude,
not say that.
a
But
lot of people would love Cash if he owned up to this.
that's the problem. Is he willing to admit his wrong? And maybe Tyler, maybe something with these prospects that maybe I'll be wrong, and they will trade Spencer Jones and they will trade Jason Dominguez, and nothing would make me happier than this offseason be some kind of revelation. But I don't know. I think though for this team, if Corey Seager is available, if it is a situation where the Yankees can go out and make something happen, it is something they should be aggressively pursuing. That's
Yeah.
all I'll leave it at, you know?
The only thing I'll say with Seager, and he is an unbelievable player. Like when he is on the field, and this is going to sound kind of nuts, there really aren't too many players better than him when he's on the field. Like he's kind of reached, I don't know how create, like in a way for a shortstop, like Mike Trout-esque status where he's either really good or he's hurt. I mean, he had
Yeah, that's fair.
a 6.2 WAR in 102 games last year. That's like literally on Aaron Judge, 9-10 WAR pace, which is nuts. Um,
He's easily a top three shortstop in baseball. And
yeah, and then again struck out 87 times. I mean, Volpe strikes out 87 times in 45 days. So, I mean, this is like we're talking a whole different stratosphere of caliber player here. Um, the thing with him, I don't think it's a stretch to call him injury prone. Really, since 2019, he's had 1 year where he hasn't missed significant time. And that's like talking 40 plus games really. Um, so I don't think it's a stretch to call him injury prone. And I also don't think it's a stretch to say it is not the smartest thing to pay a guy $31 million a year from age 32 to 37.
mhm.
Now, if Corey Seager's a Yankee, will I be ecstatic? Yes. Um, just be mindful you're going to be paying for a very old team a lot of money. When you're talking Cole, Judge, Seager, I kind of won't rope Stanton in because his contract's coming to an end, but I'm just throwing that out there. Um, you're the Yankees shouldn't inevitably matter, but you you go get Corey Seager. It's essentially having a Juan Soto type bat in front of Judge, and we saw how that took the Yanks to the World Series. So
Fair enough.
I'm all
Uh,
in on Corey Seager. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Absolutely. Also, Cashman was mentioning that along with that Kyle Tucker pool of guys, he was talking with Paul Goldschmidt's agent. They have the same agent, Paul Goldschmidt
Yep.
and Tucker. I'd be surprised to see if that moves on to be anything. They also, the rumor was Devin Williams is. They've been having conversations with Devin Williams, and we said it last podcast. I would not be surprised if they have a Devin Williams reunion. I do, in my gut, I think that there's a something in Devin Williams that maybe New York wasn't the place for him. I know the Mets have been talking to him. I don't
Hmm.
know if it may be a thing where he wants to get a complete fresh start somewhere else. I know LA has been talking to him, the Dodgers. So we'll have to see what Devin Williams decides if he really wants to go back into the belly of the beast when it comes to New York. But I think that there's a chance he comes back. My hunch would be that he tries to try something else is what I would guess, but I would be very he performed well at the end of the season. He performed well in the playoffs, so I would like to see I wouldn't mind seeing him back with the Yankees. So
Yeah,
they've been talking to him.
I just with Trent's accepting the qualifying offer, I don't see a world where they sign him. And
Yeah.
also like watching how the Dodgers bullpen panned out, like they paid a ton of money to Tanner Scott, wasn't on half the postseason rosters because he sucked the whole second half of the year. Kirby Yates didn't really pitch well. I'm just out on paying bullpen guys, honestly. I'll pay Edwin Diaz, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
And I'll employ Aroldis Chapman, but he doesn't like us.
Yeah.
Um, So I think there's a better chance of him going to the Mets or something because I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to be paying him 20 plus mil or
Yeah.
anything.
So Edwin Diaz is another interesting name, but I think that
I think he goes back
I
to.
think he goes back to the Mets eventually. I think they're gonna not. I think there's a greater chance of Pete Alonso leaving than Evan
Hmm.
or
Agreed.
than Edwin Diaz. So um also let's talk quickly about the Kyle Tucker stuff. So I am sort of out on Kyle Tucker just having a chance of coming back or not of I was thinking
Signing
of Cody
here.
Bellinger. I'm kind of out on Tucker signing here simply because one point that I would make is that I do think there's something to be said that within this and I don't think this is right, but I somewhat think it's maybe in the back of the brains of the Yankees and maybe at least Hal of they were willing to go to a huge stretch to sign Juan Soto, clearly they offered him 700 plus $1 million. I never really subscribed to this, but the more years that have gone on and seeing the behavior of the Yankees, I am I'm curious to see if they would be willing to pay a guy within Aaron Judge's prime more money than that Judge contract. Just maybe I'm crazy on it. You could tell me I am. I don't
I
know
think they
how
will.
I no, eventually they will. I'm just saying within this time period and for a guy like Kyle Tucker, I I would love Kyle Tucker. I think that if they sign Kyle Tucker, I think that's a big home run, big you know what move to say, okay, we're in this market doing stuff and we're out here to win. I'm just a little
Yeah.
questionable of whether or not they do it. But Kyle Tucker, when you compare him to Cody Bellinger, the more you look at the numbers, the more you go in deep on what he's done. His peak seasons are better than what Cody Bellinger is doing. He's an offensive powerhouse within that lineup that, as you mentioned, when you're talking about Corey Seager and Aaron Judge, if you put Kyle Tucker and Aaron Judge in the same lineup back to back, that's a devastating duo to have. It may not be
Yeah.
Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, but Kyle Tucker and Aaron Judge is a pretty freaking good duo to have. And I think that if they were to somehow put them together, it would be a dream world that would happen for me. But it would be pretty awesome. It would be pretty awesome. I just am very questionable.
Pretty awesome it would be.
I would be very. I just want to see how it develops, and especially now having at least 20 mil on the books. I know it would be a long-term contract, but just seeing the way that the Yankees operate traditionally now, at least in the modern Yankee times, I just think that they're going to opt for the Bellinger move. And I think that, and I get it. Bellinger's a better defender, but I do think from the last time we talked, the more I look at it, I was like, man, it would be awesome if Kyle Tucker is a Yankee. So
It would be very dope. I agree with you though. I think they'll lean Belly. It's kind of weird, man. I don't know if I could talk myself into Tucker being worth 450, 500. He's a year younger than Belly. And, you know, Belly had a 5-1 WAR season last year. Tucker's never had more than a 5-5. Like it's not out of the stratosphere. He's very good. He's very good. I could see them not, it's just there's fiscally smart decisions and then there's not. I have a feeling they'll fit. We know they like Kyle Tucker. They tried to trade for him. Um,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
He's a
that
right fielder though. You're not
what
putting him in left or center.
when I say that the Yankees may not be willing to spend the amount of money more than like an Aaron Judge contract, I think they will eventually hit that point. I don't know if Kyle Tucker's the kind of guy, especially in the year that they have Cody Bellinger. Maybe, obviously, I think that Kyle Tucker is a better player than or better hitter than Cody Bellinger, but I don't know if that's something then that the Yankees would be willing to say, all right, we're going to pay Kyle Tucker more than we pay Aaron Judge. I don't know if that's in a long-term
Are
deal,
you
of course.
talking like AAV? Because Judge has $200 million left on his deal. He signed a $360
I'm saying
million
I'm
deal.
not saying the AAV necessarily. I'm just saying the total amount of the contract. Because I think what are the projections out now for Kyle Tucker's AAV? I think it's
Uh, Probably, I don't know what the AAV is, but I'll ask AI real
because
quick. Kyle Tucker contract projection is probably going to come back in the range of 4 to 475. Kyle Tucker predicted to receive
see
contract likely in the $450 million
see
range, centering 10 to 12 years.
I'm just saying total value of the contract. I don't know if Kyle Tucker is the guy that they're willing to do that, especially coming off his not a bad season, but
First
somewhat of
year
a
out of Houston
disappointment.
was his worst season,
Yeah.
basically.
So that's just where I'm at with it. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't know if that's something. I don't know if he's the guy, especially in the year with Cody Bellinger being there as well.
Remember,
That is
Tucker got
where
benched on a first
where
place team.
yes, where they saw a proven guy in Bellinger that played very well. I don't know if that's something that they're willing to go out and spend a lot more money on and have a higher value contract than Aaron Judge at the end of the day, like the
I
total amount of
think
money they're
I
spending.
agree with you, honestly. I think I do.
Um, Okay, let's talk about some other of these free agents that are on the market. I really don't think that, could there be a Michael King reunion? I would love that, but I don't know
Said he
how
talked to him
how
too.
realistic it is. We talked
I don't
about
think they're going to
Edwin.
sign a big pitcher.
Yeah, I think that
I
this
think if they were
dude,
gonna, they weren't going to sign
I
Yarby, honestly.
I think Tatsuya Ime from Japan is someone, and we could talk a little bit about these Japanese pitchers. We're not going to sit here and act like we're experts on the Japanese baseball market whatsoever. But last year for Ime, he had a 1.92 ERA with 163.2 innings pitched. I think this is out of the guys with Murakami and Akamoto. And when it comes to Ime, I think Ime is the guy that makes the most sense for the Yankees. Although, I mean, if they were willing to go off of Ryan McMahon, but I think they're going to run it back with McMahon after trading for him. I think that Ime makes the most sense when you look at Garrett Cole coming back and probably later into the year off of Tommy John surgery. You don't know what's happening with Rodon. I think that when the Yankees going into this free agency, I think that they look at Ime and are like, this makes sense for us, and in the long term, we could have a really solid pitcher here. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at when in comparison to these other Japanese guys who are going to be in the free agency market.
Yeah, I don't think they go after the first baseman, third baseman. He strikes out a lot. Cash has said they're trying to get away from that. I think in my there's a shot there. It's still just tough to see them adding a Cole Fried, a fourth really big pitching contract, in my opinion. Honestly, I would totally welcome it because we've seen what these Japanese pitchers look like when they come over lately, and they are nasty. Yamamoto just, carried his team to a World Series. I do kind of find it tough to believe they'll pay up on a fourth big pitching contract. Like I said, when they could pay up for a deal like a Sandy Alcantara, who I do not want, or a Joe Ryan, who I do want, or a Tariq Skubal, who I do want. So we'll see, or an Edward Cabrera, who I do want. Um, but I would love to see it, but I'm not too sure it'll happen.
Yeah,
He's probably going to get $200 million. He might
I
get the
think there
biggest
was,
pitching contract in the league. I don't think they'll sign a free agent pitcher unless it's him, like a big
yeah.
one. Like they're not going to sign a King. They're not paying for Dylan Cease. Who would? He had a bad year last year. It blows my mind. People think he's going to get $200 million. Framber, I mean, he literally hit his catcher with a baseball because he was mad at him. Um, so I don't think the Yankees go after Framber.
No.
Maybe make a trade for like a Freddie Peralta type of thing, but the Brewers are going to want to win again. Um, I think it's Imai or no big pitcher personally.
I think that yeah, I think that it's definitely in play. Especially, I think there was also a rumor that he wasn't too keen, and everyone's saying, "Oh, he's going to go to the Dodgers." I think there was a rumor saying that he wasn't too keen on wanting to pitch alongside Yamamoto and sort of wanted his
At
own.
some point, they can't want to
Yeah,
live under
and
Shohei's shadow forever,
yeah,
and
and
now
they got
Yamamoto's.
Sasaki there too. So I have a hunch that he's probably going to go elsewhere. And when in regards to both Murakami and Akamoto, as I said, I don't really think that having the third base, having Ryan McMahon as well as Ben Rice on the corner spots for next year. Although I do think, like, out of the two of those, I think Akamoto would probably be the guy to go for. He has by the numbers, he has a better plate discipline. He's been known to have a better glove at both first base and third base. I think Murakami's been known to be more of the kind of higher one. Akamoto has the higher floor. Murakami maybe has the higher ceiling because of the bat. Could he be a guy that hits you 40 home runs? I
Yeah.
mean, one of the big things was last year, or 2024, he hit just 0.93 against pitches 93 miles per hour or faster. So that's something that
That's nuts. I'm all
that
set on that then. That's a good
yeah,
stat. Thanks for telling me that, Rob. I'm all
I'm
set
all
now.
I'm all set on that. So when it comes to these players coming over from Japan, and I do think, like, at one point the Yankees were sort of owning that market, and now it's sort of gone over to the Dodgers. But
Can't beat
when
geography,
when
man.
I
Six
think
hours closer.
yes, exactly, that is a big play for could they want to just not be in the city and then go
Just
closer
anyone in
to
the West Coast,
anyone?
Seattle, San Diego,
Exactly.
LA, the
So
Angel, you know?
while I do think the Yankees at the end of the day have an outside chance, if they are sort of able to woo Ime from Japan and sort of bring him in, I think it makes sense having an older Garrett Cole coming off of an elbow issue, and now we a little bit of unpredictability with Carlos Rodon. So it makes sense. As you mentioned, I don't know if they're going to be willing to spend, but it would be awesome if they did, and I think it would be
Yeah.
it would be something that makes sense at the end of the day. So
I
we
think
talked about the yeah.
no, I was gonna say I think based off of Cash's comments last night too, is he said something along the lines of like, what was the word? We need to I don't know, virtually he said like we need to band-aid the rotation until Cole and Rodon come back in May. And that was the month he used was May for Cole and Rodon. So I think at the end of the day, you got to find six starts,
Mhm.
probably three from Rodon and three from Cole that you're not going to have. And I think he looks at those and goes, three of them are Yarby.
Yeah.
So
Um,
Imai would be cool though. I'm all set on the hitters, I think, honestly though.
Also, let's so those are some of the Japanese pitchers. Talked a little bit about Michael King. That would be really cool. Also, one of the bigger news, funny, Randy Miller had the rumor of Paul Skeens wanting to be a Yankee, according to an anonymous Pirates teammate. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a
It was just,
November
oh
story.
yeah, it was just funny coming from Randy Miller, and then the rest of baseball sort of ran with it, and it was just like, what are we doing?
Hmm.
Um, Also, too, Jazz Chisholm Jr. and Aaron Judge won the Silver Slugger Awards. We didn't really talk too much about the A-Rod and Jeter going after Brian Cashman, and Cashman, I guess, apparently reached out to Jeter. He's definitely not reaching out to A-Rod and was saying, like, what are you
Yeah.
guys criticizing?
You see
So,
Boone's comments on that too?
yeah, I saw him on with John Boy and everything. So that was a funny little storyline that happened around the World Series. Also, Aroldis Chapman said he would never, ever pitch for the Yankees again if he, if
I
he,
don't like Chapman, dude. You
I,
got a tattoo infected in the middle of the season because you got to
yes.
go in. Like, I don't really care.
So that was a thing.
Ended so many of my seasons.
The report also with Jazz Chisholm Jr. That he would potentially sign for a discounted rate if the Yankees were to lock him up long term around now. I told you my guess. I think that there were some rumors swirling around that the Yankees aren't in love with Jazz Chisholm Jr., but do like his production. And I really think they're going to let him go to market. That's just my hunch, but I could be wrong. I think that I mean, he was a Silver Slugger last year, one of, if not the best second baseman in the American League. Maybe,
That's what Lombard does this year and
so,
Volpe.
so,
And if they go after a Seager.
so we'll see. I think, yeah, for that matter of like keeping their options open, I don't think that they're going to lock up Jazz Chisholm Jr. That's just my hunch.
No,
I don't think
I
that they're
don't
going to
think
want
they
to.
will.
Um,
I think they're looking at paying one more big position player while Judge is under contract.
Corey Seager.
And I don't think they think it's Jazz.
I would love Corey Seager on the
I
Yankees.
love Corey Seager. But dude,
Right the wrong.
so much has to change because they really can't be that lefty. And also, which we haven't even gotten really into, but they need a righty that can play first and third to spell a McMahon and a Rice when there's just lefties up
Yeah.
or we're facing lefties.
Um,
I
Talking
wouldn't
about
mind
the middle
bringing Coley
infield
back.
spots. You think there's any chance they sign Bo Bichette?
No, I don't, honestly. I do think there's a chance they move. I don't know. I'm not like totally. I think anyone can kind of go. I think there's a chance Jazz could roll if Marte, presents itself. That contract is favorable and short. Um, I think there's a world where McMahon could potentially also move. Like, I don't know. I think they're going to
It's
be
far
really
too.
active in the trade market, dude. They have a
Yeah,
lot to trade. And you have to pull from the infield essentially to trade anything. The infield or the two big outfielders. I mean, but they have pitching. They got a lot. I
it's
don't know
far.
how I just answered that question, but
No,
I
I get
did.
it. I think it's a lot of just throwing out whatever because I think we're at a far too early point in the market and to the Trent stuff, accepting the qualifying offer puts them in a very interesting position where, yes, we do know that the Yankees are very keen on wanting Cody Bellinger back.
Hmm.
and then it's saying, well, they are how much of the same team are they going to run back and how aggressive are they really going to be? And it could just be that all of these rumors are just rumors and it's just a smokescreen for something
Yeah.
that we could see back again next year, which is in the cards. But yes, I do think that they're going to make some sort of a deal and they're going to have to be somewhat creative. And I think that that is going to happen at some point, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to be as big of a splash as Corey Seager. My best guess would be no.
But
But I
here's the thing, he's not even gonna cost like that's gonna be a Rafael Devers type of thing. Like here's one guy. Oh, you're paying the rest of the contract? Sure, take him. That's what I think it'll look like. I don't think you have to give up anything of I don't think the most you'd have to give up is a Spencer Jones. I don't think it's like a Jones,
you don't think
Dominguez,
though that
Rice.
I I may
Dude, they're
push
trying
back
to
on
get
it
out
a
of a mid-30s contract paying him 31 million a
but
year.
we
I
also
don't
we're
think
also
so.
going off of that from the Dallas Morning of how desperate they are to part ways with him, and I maybe
But when I hear
Texas,
shed payroll, I just hear like we don't want to pay the guy.
but it may not be specifically to him is the thing. It said that he was included potentially on that if they are to get good offers for him. So
All right, then let me
that's what
look at
that's where I
Rangers.
say I don't think that they're as desperate. They're desperate for other facets of the roster, but I do think that they're going to ask for something from Corey Seager. I don't think it's just, hey, here you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they ask for something, but I also think it is more of along the lines of like, okay, you're not asking us to pay 40% of this? Sure. And I don't think it's like if you want to go get Joe Ryan, you have to trade everyone. You want to go get Corey Seager, you don't have to do that. You have to pay money and give someone.
Yeah.
But like no
I,
one on, dude, no one on the Rangers is making real money besides Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon,
that's why I'm very hesitant.
Jacob DeGrom.
That's why
They
I'm
have,
very hesitant on that. I think it more applies to Jacob DeGrom, if anything. I think that they
but
may.
DeGrom was just nasty.
Yeah, but he's an aging guy and he's never been
Pitched
someone that stays healthy.
175 innings.
Never stayed healthy, though.
Cy Young 8.
It's
Well,
never been
yeah, that's
healthy.
true. Damn, DeGrom is 37. What happened?
I think that the Rangers are not going to part ways with Seager, and I think if they were to, they're going to ask for something of significance. That's just
But
me.
what is of significance, though?
Well, you said that they wouldn't have to give up Spencer Jones. I think the starting point for the Rangers is asking for Spencer Jones.
Well, I think it's like whoever the Rangers want, but you can't like, I'll put it like this, Rob. It is harder for a, if you are the Red Sox and you try and go get Corey Seager, it's going to cost you less than if you are the Red Sox trying to go get Ben Rice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see why you're saying it because it's going to be more of a salary dump. But I
Yeah,
don't think,
they're trying to get out of age 32 to 37 of $31 million a year. Like that's why I think the Devers trade is very interesting when it comes to this, where if they actually want to dump some salary, they can get rid of him for sure.
maybe. And it's again, I don't know how
You know what?
incredibly
Bring me to Grom.
reliable it is, but
Bring me to Grom too.
we'll
Wonder
see.
what is DeGrom making, dude? Never thought I'd be asked, but I know this pod's all over the place, and this is kind of my fault. But if they get Ketel Marte or Corey Seager, I mean, I personally think there's not many players better than Ketel Marte either. Um, I'm gonna be very happy. Just throwing that out there. The sky
Yeah.
is green, or the sky is blue. The grass is green.
Yeah, we'll see how it develops. But it's gonna. This is just the start of it. This is just the start of the free agency period. So we're gonna be hearing more.
Grom's
I
on a
mean,
friendly deal.
yesterday was the thing that we heard from Brian Cashman, and we're gonna have to see how it develops and how it transpires. So um, we'll see if there's any move. I mean, I don't think there's probably gonna be any by Thanksgiving. Maybe a
When
little
are the winter
after.
meetings?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think winter meetings are either the first or second week of December this year. I think probably around December 9th or something. So
Well, today is like the um there's some deadline today. It's like the non-tender or stuff's gotta happen with guys like Escara. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Something happens today. I think we'll see something. I don't know how big it'll be, but we're seeing stuff to like moving a little bit.
yeah. Well, we're hearing from Cash, so we'll have to see what transpires. But
Yep.
around the time of winter meetings, I'm sure we'll be sure to hop onto a pod and talk more in detail and see if any more rumors or any more kind of developments happen. But that's it for episode 226. Make sure you subscribe to stick around, leave us a rate and review. Also, leave a comment who you're thinking the Yankees are going to be in for or out on. And also follow us on our social channels on Instagram, TikTok, X, everywhere there. So really appreciate everyone for listening. We'll catch you next time. Peace.